रामाय रामभद्राय रामचंद्राय वेदसे रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीतायाः पतये नमः. Uttarakhand, chapter number 24, Ravana and Bali. The recitation begins now. And again journeyed in the city of Ashma the followers of Ravana dreadful in fight. There the 10-necked demon beheld a highly picturesque house, adorned with the networks of pearls and having gateways crested with Vaidurias, golden pillars and abounding in pavements. And the stairs of that picturesque house, resembling the abode of Mahendra, covered with girdles, were made of crystal. Beholding that excellent house, the highly powerful Ravana thought within himself, "Whose is this beautiful house resembling the summit of Mount Meru? Go, O Prahasta, and learn quickly whose house is this." Thus ordered, Prahasta entered that excellent house, and finding none in one apartment, he entered another, and thus entering 7 apartments, he at last saw a flame of fire. There was a man in their flame who, when seen, laughed aloud. Hearing that dreadful laughter, Prahasta's down stood on their end. There was another man in their flame, as if in a swoon, engarlanded with golden lotuses, incapable of being looked at like the sun, and resembling the Yama's self. Beholding that, the night ranger speedily issued out of the house and communicated it to Ravana. Thereupon, O Rama, having descended from Pushpaka, the Shigriva, black as collyrium, entered that house. Immediately obstructing the door, there stood a huge-bodied man, dreadful like Shiva. His tongue was all aflame, and his eyes were red, rows of teeth, beautiful lips like Bimba. His form was handsome, nose dreadful, neck like a shell marked with 3 lines, jaws were spacious, beards thick, bone fleshy, teeth huge, and his appearance was all dreadful. And taking up an iron mace, he stood at the gate. Beholding him, the Shanana's hair stood on the end. His heart and body trembled. And seeing these bad omens, O Rama, he began to think within himself. He, thus meditating what that man said, "What art thou thinking, O Rakshasa? Tell me all in confidence. I shall confer upon thee the hospitality of fighting, O hero, O night ranger." Having said this, he again spoke unto Ravana, saying, "Dost thou wish to enter into conflict with Bali, or what else is thy intention?" Ravana was so overwhelmed that his hairs stood on their end, but resorting to calmness, he said, "O thou foremost of those skilled in speech, who residest in this house? I shall fight with him. Speak out what thou wishest." And again said to Ravana, "The Lord of Danavas lives here. He is highly generous, heroic, and has truth for his prowess. He is gifted with many qualities, resplendent like unto Yama, with mace in his hand, or like the newly risen sun, and the incapable of being defeated in conflict, impetuous, invincible, victorious, powerful, a veritable ocean of accomplishments, sweet-speeched, supporter of the dependents, fond of preceptor and brahmanas, always awaiting for opportune hours, gifted with high powers, truthful, of a handsome person, skillful, gifted with all accomplishments, heroic, and engaged in the study of the Vedas. He sometimes walks on foot and moves about like the wind. He shines like fire and spreads heat like the sun. He travels with the gods, spirits, serpents, and birds. He does not know fear. Dost thou wish to fight with him? If thou dost wish to fight with Bali, O Lord of Rakshasas, O thou gifted with great energy, do thou speedily enter this house and engage in the encounter." Being thus addressed, Dashanana entered where Bali was. Beholding the Lord of Lanka, the foremost of Danavas, resembling the flaming fire and hard to look at like the sun, laughed. And taking that Rakshasa by the hand and placing him on his lap, he said, "O Dashagriva, O Lord of Rakshasas, O thou having long arms, what desire of thine may I satisfy? Do thou tell me for what thou hast come hither." Being thus addressed by Bali, Ravana said, I have heard, O illustrious sir, that formerly thou wast bound by Vishnu. Forsooth, I am capable of releasing thee from thy bonds. Hearing that, Bali laughed and said, Here I shall relate to thee what thou hast asked, O Ravana. The red-hued man who stands always at the door, by him formerly all the leading Danavas and all the powerful lords were brought into subjection. By him I was also bound. He is invincible like unto death. Who is there on this earth that can deceive him? He who stands at the door is the destroyer of all beings, creator and preserver, and the Lord of the three worlds. Thou dost not know him, nor do I. He is identical with past, future, present, and is the Lord. He is Kali and he is time, the destroyer of all beings. He is the destroyer and the creator of the three worlds, and he slays all beings, mobile and immobile. And that Lord of all gods again creates the universe without beginning or end. O Night Ranger, he governs and preserves all sacrifices, gifts, and oblations to fire. Forsooth, he is the creator and preserver of the universe. There is none so wonderful in the three worlds. O son of sage Pulastya, he hath been guiding the former Danavas, myself, yourself, like so many beasts bound with ropes. Vritra, Danu, Shuka, Shambhu, Nishumba, Shumba, Kalanemi, Prahalada, and others, Kuta, Vairochana, Mridu, Jamala, Arjuna, Kansa, Kaitaba, and Madhu used to impart heat like the sun, appear resplendent like the rays, move about like air, and pour showers like Indra. All of them celebrated many a sacrifice and were engaged in austere penances. All of them were high-souled and considered the practice of yoga as a great virtue. Having got by an immense accession of wealth, they enjoyed many pleasures, made many gifts, celebrated many sacrifices, studied many lores, and governed their subjects. They were all protectors of their own kith and kin and slayers of enemies. And in battle, there was none equal to them in the three worlds. They were all heroic, of a high pedigree, versed in all sacred writings, proficient in all branches of learning, and indomitable in warfare. Having defeated thousands of celestials in conflict, the high-souled ones conquered the regions. They were always engaged in those works which were not liked by the celestials and used to maintain their own men. They were all inflated with pride and haughtiness and effulgent like the newly risen sun. The glorious Lord Hari, the Lord Vishnu, knoweth only how to bring about their destruction, who perpetually assail the celestials. He creates all these, and he, bringing about their destruction, exists in himself at the time of dissolution. These highly powerful and high-souled Danava chiefs, assuming shapes at will, have been destroyed by the glorious Lord. Besides, all these heroes who have been heard of as being irrepressible and invincible in warfare have been discomfited by the wonderful power of Kritanta. Having said this, the Lord of Danavas again spoke unto the Lord of Rakshasas. O hero, O thou gifted with great strength, take that flaming discus which thou beholdest and come to my side. I shall then relate to thee the means of eternal liberation. Do what I have told thee, O thou having long arms. Delay not, O Ravana. Hearing this, the highly powerful Rakshasa proceeded, laughing, O descendant of Raghu, where that celestial Kundala was. Ravana, proud of his prowess, easily took it up but could not move it by any means. And being ashamed, that highly powerful one once again attempted. As soon as it was lifted, the Rakshasa dropped down on ground, bathed in a pool of blood, like unto an uprooted sala tree. In the meantime, there arose from the Pushpaka a sound, and the counselors of the Lord of Rakshasas cried aloud. Regaining his sense, the Rakshasa rose up in a moment and lowered his head in shame. Bali said to him, Do thou come, O foremost of Rakshasas, and hear my words. O hero, the Kundala, crested with jewels, which thou didst essay to take up, is an ornament for the ear of one of my forefathers. This fell here on the ground, O thou gifted with great strength. Another kundala was thrown on the summit of the mountain. Besides these kundalas, his crown was also cast off on the ground before the altar during the encounter. Formerly, none bore enmity towards my ancestor Hiranyakashipu, time, death, or illness. He had no death during the day, night, evening, or morning. O foremost of Rakshasas, he did not experience death from any weapon whatsoever. He created a dreadful enmity with Prahalada, his son. This conflict having taken place with the high-souled and heroic Prahalada, there rose up a dreadful figure of a man-lion, a terror to all. O foremost of Rakshasas, that terrible figure casting his looks about all the worlds were overwhelmed. Thereupon, taking him up with his arms, he destroyed him with his nails. The person who is standing at the door is that Supreme Vasudeva, devoid of passion. I shall now relate to thee the words of that Supreme Lord. Do thou hear if thy heart is filled with spiritual thoughts. The person who is standing at the door had brought into subjection in thousands of years thousands of Indras and Ayuta of gods and hundreds of great rishis. Hearing these words, Ravana said, I have seen Kritanta, the lord of the spirits, with death himself with hair standing erect. Serpents and scorpions are his hairs, his tongue is hard as lightning, his teeth are dreadful, his eyes are red, and he is gifted with great velocity and a terror unto all beings. He is incapable of being looked at like unto the sun, unconquerable in battle, and is the chastiser of the sinners. He even was defeated by me in conflict. There I do not feel the least pain or fear, O Lord of Danavas. I do not know this person. It behoveth thee to give me an account. Hearing the words of Ravana, Bali said, He is Lord Hari, Narayana, the protector of the three worlds. He is Ananta, Kapila, Jishnu, and the highly effulgent man-lion. He is Kratudhama, Sudhama, and hath the dreadful mace in his hands. He is like unto the 12 Adityas, Purana, and the excellent Purusha. He is like unto the red clouds, the Lord of gods and the best God. O thou having long arms, he is encircled by flames, a great devotee and fond of great devotees. This Lord preserveth the universe and hath created it. And he, gifted with great speech, brought about destruction in the form of time. And this Hari, with a discus in his hand, is sacrifice and is being worshipped in sacrifices. Mangalam Koshalendraya Mahaniya Gunabdeye Chakravarti Dhanurjaya Sarvabhaumaya Mangalam.